nice to get it going early.
Does this game show that you're a contender right now, do you think, Glenn?
I don't know. It might be a little early for that, but what it does show us is the heavy lifting, the pain of last year, the stuff I've been telling all of you that we're getting the talent infusion, we're getting young guys in, and it's going to make a difference. So it's just nice that we're in a position where we can compete with teams like that because they're arguably the best team in the league, and we went blow for blow with them. So. I don't know if that makes us a contender yet because we're still young, right? You're gonna ride that wave like we are a young team, but we're talented and you saw some of that. And not only talented, they play with some jam. They play tough. They battle hard. They get into small areas. They work hard, and it was good to see.
What led to that 7-goal outburst in the second quarter that allowed you guys to really take control of the game?
Just skilled plays. It was actually 8. We went on an 8-4 run in the second quarter, and it's adding talent to our lineup, right? Like it's always that blend, right? You can talk about your systems and whatever else, but if you don't have guys like Simmons and Kurtz and Longboat and guys like that are making plays, and Ethan Walker, I mean, it's always a balance of what you give them systematically, but then they need to execute, and we've got a group now. That is skilled enough and dynamic enough that I don't remember the last time we put up 17 goals, and to do it against Matt Vink in Buffalo. I mean that is probably the best goalie of all time, and a very good defensive team. So, I mean that's 2 games worth of goals last year, like literally, right? So no, that was nice to see because, and I think I've used this line with you before. Sometimes you got to be in a position to score yourself out of trouble. And they closed that gap. They got to whatever it was, 13-11, and then we just kept scoring, and that's a nice feeling when you know that you've got guys that can deliver.
Coach, we talked just yesterday about how optimistic you were about this group. Did you think you'd see this level of impact this quickly out of them?
Yes and no. I mean, I wasn't in a position where I'm like, hey, we're gonna put 17 goals up. Like I was in a position where I knew we were better. I knew we were more talented, but I also knew we were young, and that's a funny thing sometimes. But I think you can see by the ball movement, the type of goals we're scoring, the way guys are playing, that we're certainly a more talented group than we were last year. And that's the nice thing for this organization and everything else is these guys are all 23, 24, 25, and we've got Dyson Williams coming in who's going to be 24 when he gets here. So we've got a group that you literally can grow with for 8 years, and they're very skilled, and they're 4 years away from hitting their peak. So it looked good. It feels good, and it feels good today, and then we'll enjoy it for tonight, and then worry about next weekend.
I mean, that being said, Coach, you guys had a pretty good lead, and I mean, you got to feel pretty good with your guys being able to stay that comeback. I mean, Buffalo put on a lot of pressure. And for such a young team, is there anything that you can really attribute for your defense kind of pulling together there and your goalie? I mean, or something you said maybe as that third quarter comeback was kind of coming and you guys were able to prevent it?
Yeah, I mean, we made some adjustments in terms, especially more so in the fourth quarter. But the nice thing was where, I think they only ever got to 2. And then we separated again, and then they got to 3, and then we separated again. So it was nice, the pushback. Because we really haven't had that for a couple of years. I don't know if we had that since we've been in Albany, right? Like we really haven't been able to go blow for blow offensively with teams, and we were today. So that was a good thing. I mean, it goes to whatever 12-10, and we go to 13-10, 14-10, and then it goes 14-12, and we go 15-12. Like so, we had some pushback, and we have the ability to do that. So that's a good feeling.
You mentioned Vink being great. Your own guy was no slouch there.
Yeah.
What did he mean when they were trying to make their comeback?
Yeah, I mean, Dougie made the saves we needed, right? There wasn't, there was no soft ones on him, and that's a weapon of an offense. I mean, you look at those players. I mean, they're all, they're all-stars, right? Their whole lineup on the offensive side. So Dougie was good. Dougie was what we needed out of him, right? You don't win in this league without, top-tier goaltending, and we got it today for sure.
And so when you look at, you mentioned the young team, and I think on paper you guys are the youngest team in the National Lacrosse League right now, and you've got 2 star rookies who are balling out right now in the first 2 games. Can you speak to us a little bit about the performances of Kurtz and Simmons, not just tonight, but in the first 2 games?
They've been as advertised, and I've been kind of selling it to this fan base and the media, saying, we're going through pain last year, but we have, potential star players coming, and I think you've seen that out of both of them. I mean, Simmons went off today. I think he was 5-3 today, which is incredible for a rookie against Buffalo. Like that's not easy to do. And I don't know what Kurtz was, but I mean, he had some big goals and played well, and they play in tough areas, and they're guys that know how to get it done, and it's nice. It's a nice feeling because I didn't have this feeling last year. I mean, it was just last year was deflating, and it was a painful season. And I'm not saying that we're just we're not going 18-0, but it's nice to know that we have the potential to win those type of games and have some pushback, especially offensively.
And so when you think about this rebuild, this kind of shift that's been happening over the years to get to where you are now, and you've got Dyson coming in, like you said, it must feel really satisfying to see that, trusting the process and seeing all the pieces that you've been bringing in, that things are coming to fruition and really working.
It is, right? Because, it's on me, right? I'm selling a product, and I'm selling guys, and I'm saying, hey, believe in us, this is what we're doing. And when it starts to look like, it's taking shape, it's nice, right? Because it's, in some ways it's a leap of faith, right? I'm telling you guys, oh, we're going to be better, Well, there's no guarantees of that. So it's certainly a good start, and it's certainly, the nice thing is it's happening the way we wanted it to happen, and it's happening the way we designed it to happen, getting younger, getting talent, getting these guys that can be potential game changers, and that's what we got.
So you get a better night's sleep tonight? Will it just feel different now after winning a home game for the first time in a while?
I'll probably stay up a little longer, to be honest. So that's the good part. I'll be a happier guy, right? So, and I saw somebody texted me too. My son scored a goal tonight for Philly in Toronto, so I got to check that out. I don't know what the score of the game was, but somebody's like, "Dad scored." I'm like, "Oh, cool." So it's a good night.
Any more questions?
Yeah.
So we had Nardella, Nishimura, and Reed score in transition.
Mm-hmm. And Kazchuk.
Yes, him too.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to the regular scoring, how big is it to have that transition scoring also working for the team?
Well, it's huge. I mean, Nish and Kazchuk were fourth quarter goals, and they were big separation goals. So it's huge, right? Transition and power plays are usually, difference makers in the game. And I think I had the hot stats. I think we had 4 transition goals, which is the margin of victory. So they're huge, right? Transition goals are, they're freebies, right? They're goals where you can have quick strike, and it's almost a relief when they go in. You're like, oh man, yeah, that's nice.
Now, with such a young, emotional team, how hard is it, or I guess, did you notice as you're going into these big games, like you're beating Buffalo, how do you try to keep the emotions in check with such a young, I mean, you've got a veteran-filled defense, and Colton Watkins has stepped up as the captain now, but I mean, what do you say to the young guys to try to keep them poised and not get too excited and be like, oh my God, we're playing against the best goalie that's, one of the best goalies that's ever played?
Yeah, there's not surprisingly, we went after specific people that we liked and we knew, but they're very professional. They're very businesslike in their execution. Like they're always here, right? Like they're not blown away by the moment. They're not intimidated by it, but they're not ahead of themselves. So I really like their mindset. They're just, it's business for them. This is my job. This is what I'm going to do. And it's, they're not emotional. They're very, they're dialed in. They're very purposeful. And it's a really professional group for being as young as they are.
One more?